Today on Energy Unleashed, the Midlife Reset podcast, we're switching gears a little bit, speaking with a powerful guest who's wise beyond her 21 years. Mariana may be young, but her soul speaks the language of experience, pain, healing, and truth. She joins us to share her personal journey, growing up, grieving early losses, facing emotional burnout at such a young age, and ultimately finding her way back home to herself. But this isn't just about her story. This is a message for you, the midlife parent, who may not realize just how deeply your child may need to be seen, heard, emotionally supported. Mariana opens up about the impact of social media, self-worth, the power of self-expression, and why silence in the home can actually sometimes be louder than words. This episode is going to be a raw, casual conversation and a reminder that healing starts with being present and that it's never too late to do it differently. This is a kind of conversation that actually bridges generations together and that just might change the way you parent, connect, and heal. Let's get into it. Mariana, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
This is a special episode because, this podcast channel is about midlife, this transition in life, at the time of life where a lot of us are becoming more awakened or sometimes feeling stuck. And there's also parents who have kids your age,
Right.
young adults, teens and young adults. So you had the idea of hearing about this podcast channel,
Right.
knowing that it's geared towards midlife, but you still felt that you had a calling to just share your story. And I said, why not? Because I feel like absolutely in our midlife, my age, I have teens, as a sole parent raising them by myself all my entire life. And I could see how someone like you could actually shed light. If I was to see a show or someone young like you speaking back when my kids were growing up or even currently now, like I feel like that would definitely help me. Um, so if you could just share with us the calling that you had and why did you feel it was important to share your story to parents that are out there listening?
No, absolutely. The reason why I think it was so important for me to do something like this is because when I was growing up, I felt like my voice wasn't really heard. And I think it's so important to really take a moment and hear why the reason why someone is the way they are, you know? I think there's so many challenges, there's so many obstacles, so many hardships. And I think it's so humbling and so rewarding to see like what a person goes through and what their journey looks like because everybody's journey is different. The timeline is different. How they approach it is everything is just so different, but that's what makes it beautiful because it's challenging, but it's different, So I think that's definitely a reason why I wanted to come on here.
That. And this is just me. When you speak, you're 21 years
Yeah.
old?
Yep.
When you speak from like old soul
Yeah.
or like
Right.
words of wisdom. Where in the world did you get this insights from?
Um, it's so funny. I think it really just came. I'm very old school when it comes to love, like just how I am as a person in general. Like it's so old school, but I love it. I love it. I'm so like I separate myself from this like my generation. I think we're like, especially in the love culture, we're so everything's about hookup and all of this. And I don't believe in that. I really don't. I believe in that old school love. And I love it. I don't know where it came from, but I love it.
Did you ever feel like you were one of those that maybe didn't fit in because you felt like you were different in a way?
Yeah, just going more on a personal note, when I was in high school, I feel like in that stage, everyone's just kind of messing around, having fun. Like everyone's trying to figure out where they are or where they fit. I think in high school, I felt a little different just because I wasn't doing what most girls were doing. And I don't want to dive in too deep, but like the sneaking out, like messing with so many guys, like I wasn't like that whatsoever. I appreciated really um getting to know a person and how we connect, just looking for that soul connection, I think is so important. So I kind of, yeah, in that aspect, I did feel a little bit alone just because I was so different and from such a young age as well. Like I remember just coming in freshman year, I was like, I feel weird. Like this feels really weird to me. Like I'm not like them, you know?
Right, right. And it's like the majority of how society was,
Yeah,
right? Like you
right.
felt like there was something higher, something else for you, but you're just going along every
Yeah,
day with day after day, but
right.
still feeling something deep
Yeah,
inside.
I just felt like I didn't belong. And it took a while for me to understand, but now that I'm a little bit older, I'm like, you know what? I'm so glad I wasn't like that. You know, I'm so glad that I had self-respect. And I think that's one thing young girls really suffer with is self-respect. You know, it takes a lot of courage to be like, you know what? That isn't going to help me in any sort of way. It's not going to shift the gear in a positive way. So I think it takes a lot from within, especially at such a young age to do that, you know.
And do you think that social media has a lot to do with that?
Absolutely, 100%. I feel like social media is great. You know, it has its perks, you know what I'm saying? You know, you can that could be your second income in a way, but also what it can do to someone's mindset is very damaging, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like, oh, you're like, oh, but like I wish I could look like her, but oh, what is she doing that I'm not doing? You know, it's a lot of self comparison there, and it really just it damages like your mindset, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and your confidence, your self-confidence, you know.
I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
And you know, I study
Right.
energy work, energy healing, and we become our environment. So imagine the parents who are working full time, not spending enough time at home, having their nannies raising their kids for them. I'm not saying this is everybody, but this is a majority of people, and leaving it to the schools and what? Big media, you know, social
Right. The
media,
outside
the
factors.
outside
Yeah.
factors. The majority of the time spent is what you're going to become.
Right.
So I'm always mentioning to others, just be careful what you're listening to,
Right.
especially at nighttime. You know, what kind of music are you listening to?
Right.
What's the frequency that music is? But yeah, so I feel, it's good to hear from someone young and fresh like you
Yeah.
because I didn't tell you this. You're from your own can see it and you say it.
Right.
That social media, as much as it can be used as a positive influence,
Right.
there's a lot of also false reality. Like this is what the standard women have to look like,
Right.
you
Right.
know, and these kids now are very sexualized and thinking they have to look a certain way and
Right.
do a certain thing. So it's just cool to hear from you
Right.
saying that from your own self. Coming from you,
Yeah.
do you have any suggestions for, say, moms and dads out there on what they should do if they see perhaps their teen kind of spiraling out of control? What do you think is the missing factor there?
Something definitely that, you know, I craved now that I'm realizing when I was younger, it's a support system that is super important. I feel as though having somebody that they can speak to freely and they can feel confident is so important. And that's something I really needed when I was growing up because I feel like if you don't have that person that you can go to, whether it's a mom, a parent, a teacher, whatever it is, a friend,
Therapist,
right?
whatever. Yeah.
Us as humans, it's normal for us to express ourselves, and it's the greatest thing we can do. So I think if that's the missing part, like parents out there, really just be that open book for them because they're looking for someone that's not going to judge them, someone that's going to understand them, someone that's going to you know, kind of put themselves in their shoes and mean it. You know what I'm saying? Like actually put yourself in their shoes because, you know, we were all there at one point. We were all
Oh, yeah,
teenagers
nobody's perfect.
and we're just going through so many emotions at once. Like our, you know, we're thinking about so many things. So I think when you really just have somebody that can listen to you and make you feel good and remind you that you know what you're doing your best every single day and that looks different for everybody what their best and somebody else's best that looks so different so I think really just having that person is super important
Like
it's
a
crucial
support.
yes that's crucial
And what about if, say, there's mom or dad or whomever the guardian is, let's say they have some emotional blockages or emotional
right
problems that they don't know how to show affection or show support. What do you think are some ideas or options? You know, because these kids are craving attention. You can, when they're acting out, it's something's missing. So what do you think is the next best thing for them to do?
Well, to be honest, I still struggle with this myself. Growing up, my mom was very old school, so
Mhm.
she didn't really understand. She's like, "Oh, depression. Oh, just go clean your room. Oh, like it's nothing." You know what I'm saying? So I still struggle with that
But
myself.
you spoke up or
Yes.
you mentioned
Yes.
that I'm not feeling good
Right.
or
Right.
but and nobody was hearing
Right.
you.
Right. Yeah, so like depression, anxiety. There's just so many factors that contribute to it. I think the way I got through it was a sport. Also, your future is it can be so stressful, but if you put your mind into it and you figure out, okay, what are you gonna do? Like, what's the next step? Because we're always so stuck on the problem, but we should be like, I know it's hard, but it's like if you look beyond that and if you tell yourself there's a solution, that's so important to get yourself out, like wherever you're stuck in. It's so important that you look beyond it because we're always so like, oh my God, like I'm gonna be in this mindset forever. Just surround yourself with positive people, and whoever you surround yourself with is super important as well.
Mhm.
Because if you don't have like those positive influence in your life, that also can influence how you think, how you feel,
100%.
all of
That's
that.
your environment. That's
Absolutely.
that share of vibration, of frequency, of energy.
But for me also, I think a way I got through it was, getting closer with God. Praying really helps me. I know too many people probably, they're not too close with him or they don't
Mhm.
believe in that, but that's what helped me get through it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And how did you realize? Because there's a lot of people who maybe they don't believe in religion.
Right,
That's fine. Religion, the word religion just scares a lot of people away from that
right,
anyway.
right,
So think of higher power, source, higher consciousness, God. If if you only go through Jesus, there's so many different ways to channel in this higher spirit, the creator of
right.
all that we are. How did you come to that? Was it just something that you felt like there was something else out there?
Well, actually, what I was telling you yesterday, with your dad, passing away and
Yeah.
everything, I think that's the first time I really felt God. I felt him give me a hug, so, that's when I realized, like, he's there. He feels you. He's there to support you. And just going back to the whole religion thing as a whole, I always tell people all the time, I'm not a religious person myself, but I'm close with him
Mhm.
because I talk to him, and look at me, like I have tattoos and stuff, but I know he still accepts me.
Despite what other
Just
religions
right,
say,
right.
sin, you know
So
deep in your heart.
absolutely, and I think you feel it too. You
Yeah.
feel the acceptance. So yeah, I don't. People just really, they mislead it. Essentially, it's not that deep.
Yeah.
It's really not that deep.
And Mariana is someone who you're not afraid to speak your truth and because in the reality is that which is what many even in our midlife ages struggle with is that we worry too much about what others think and you're here 21 years old and you really are in that mindset that many strive to get but you don't care what others think about you and you're going to live your life in truth, follow your heart, follow your calling.
Right,
And we just had this conversation yesterday. For instance, we're at a point in your life recently, what was it, 2 years ago, a year ago, that you kind of didn't know what you wanted to do with your life. You kind of felt a
right,
little bit lost and
right,
unsure. But now you have like the reality check after that time of just your ups and downs. You firmly now said, I'm ready now. I was not ready back then,
right,
but it's okay to try again. And
right,
that thing keeps coming back. Sometimes these desires keep coming back because
right,
it needs to be fulfilled
right,
until you go through it all the way. It's for a reason for you to either learn something from it or maybe let's say it's not meant to be, but you need to go do it because it's going to teach you something along the way.
right,
Or you're going to meet somebody for some reason a connection along the way.
right,
So you just mentioned that now you're in that mindset where you feel ready at you're this young adult and now ready to just experience, right?
right. No, I'm definitely at the turning point of my life, and I'm grateful that I found it at such a young age. It definitely wasn't easy to get to this mindset. I had to go through so much.
Can you share
Yeah,
with us um because also for those out there, You've gone through a lot of things, and I'm sure we're not going to cover all of them. Just saying that many have not even experienced as much as you have at such a young age.
Yeah.
When did you start kind of realizing reality and starting to be more aware of your surroundings, different trials, obstacles, and challenges? If you can explain to us a little bit about your story.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't even in my teen years. It just actually the turning point happened now, like just recently. Growing up, it wasn't easy. I didn't, my dad wasn't really in the picture. It was just my mom. But even then, it wasn't even my mom. It was my sisters. My sisters raised me, and I was always moving. I was always staying in other people's houses. So that was that def
Constant change,
yes,
change,
yep,
change.
yep, and that definitely had an effect on me because I always crave stability, just being stable. That's something, and that's something I still go through today, just, wanting to be stable. And then, high school, well, after high school specifically, it was tough because I did move out. I was on my own for almost 3 years. And I think it's so important. I was telling you this the other day, but I think after high school, it's so important that one at least takes the year off just to kind of mess around, figure out what they want to do. I think it's so important to take that time off. And now for me, it was a little long, I'll admit it. Probably
Now,
more.
let's back up.
Yeah.
Was the reason that you felt that you need to take that time off
Mhm.
because you were a little bit in the position of like burnout, like emotional burnout?
So in high school, actually, sorry, I'm fast tracking, but in high school, my mom was very strict on me. I could not go out anywhere. It was school, soccer, home, school, soccer, home.
So like
So
no go out anywhere like what? No
no,
friends, no
nothing,
nothing.
nothing,
Okay.
nothing. It was terrible. I felt trapped. I was like, wow, like I can't do anything. Like I can't even go see my friends because, like I said, it was just school, soccer, home. That's all I could do. That was within my limits. And that definitely I went into a very like dark hole because of it. Because at that age you want to be social, you want to be
Right.
with your friends, like you want to have fun. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's meant to be in the house.
And then just to mention also, so and part of that is and also for parents to hear this as well. So
Right.
if this is something that perhaps they're doing this or whichever the case, it's probably something within the parents that are just some kind of fear or some nervousness or fear
Absolutely.
inside of them.
Right.
So they're putting that out on the child, which is only making it worse.
Right.
Instead of getting the child into some activities, socializing, having friends, maybe the parent is just too tired that they don't want to have to go here or go there, but they do need to make time for that child and to hear the child out.
Right. I think parents, like a message from me to you guys, don't trap your child. That is the worst thing you could do. They will fall into a depression and they'll lose themselves. They'll lose motivation. They'll lose their spark. They'll just be like, kind of like me. Like, I was just like, you know what? F this. Like, I'm out. Like, I don't
And
care.
don't trap and not to be so overbearing, correct?
Absolutely. Don't try to live through them. I think
Right,
that's the big
right,
thing. I think my mom
right,
really tried to live through me.
right, right.
And it's like, it's overwhelming. It's like
And this
this
is someone
constant thing.
who loves her mother to death. We're
Absolutely.
saying, as far as forms of parenting, and this is what we were speaking about, our parents did the best they can in the
No,
state
for
that
sure.
they were in,
Right.
because that's all that
They
your
knew.
mother knew at
Right.
that time. My mother knew at that time. Everybody else's parents are in a different state, different mindset. And
Right.
some, yeah, want their child to live through their desires, their wishes. You hear those aggressive parents in the football field or on the baseball field that their poor kid probably doesn't even want to play
Right.
anymore. But
But they're
it's
doing it for
yes,
them. Yep.
yes. So great message for the parents who can just listen to what Mariana is saying because she's lived through that. She's gone through depression. She's gone through that dark hole.
Right.
She's gone through, gosh, many other things, but
Yeah.
only talk about what you want to talk about.
Right.
I'm here for you. You know that.
Yeah.
But even you've gone to points where, and I mean, I'll let you speak on that if you want to speak on that, but you've gone through issues in school, and then having lost close friends to you at such a young age as well.
Yeah, I think one thing I always struggled with was and this is where I also felt like I was kind of like I didn't fit in because I always felt like I had to kind of hold myself to a limit. I feel like I couldn't be myself with certain people. Something was just always missing. You know what I'm saying? But the friends I do have now, I'm super grateful. They're super supportive. We've been friends since I was in middle school, so I'm grateful that God gave me these friends, But also, I think I'm also missing another piece in my life, a girl that that's my girl. Someone that, can match my energy, that I could be the one in her life, not saying in a relationship way, but in a friendship way. Just like, I don't know how to explain it, but just someone that's really like there for me.
Like a deep, like a soul
Yeah.
sister,
Yeah, like
a
a
deep
platonic.
connection.
Yeah,
Yep, yep,
absolutely.
yep,
So,
yep.
and that's something I'm still going through. I think at my age it's super hard to find that, but
Someone authentic.
yes, yes. But I think that girl, she's probably that girl out there is probably going through the same thing as me, and I'll find her eventually, but I really have to let it come to me because it can't be forced. But that's something I still am struggling with at the moment.
I see, I
Yeah,
see. That's it's a lot to go through, and I commend you for sharing even as much as this far, because
yeah,
this is something that you don't know who's going to come across this video. But thank you so much for sharing that, because I know it's not easy.
yeah, right.
So even though you're just 21 years old,
Mhm.
we've only scratched the surface. I know
Right,
you've been through so much,
absolutely.
but everybody's got their own stories for a reason. I believe truly we're here in life to experience all emotions, even things so dark, without experiencing the dark, we don't know what it's like to experience the bliss and the most amazing, right?
Right, right.
But what do you think from your perspective, with everything that you've been through, what has that taught you about resilience and self-respect, self-worth?
Well, at times I'm still trying to forgive myself for the past. That's something I really do struggle with just because I'm so full of love and, I'm so about giving the person the benefit of the doubt. But going through everything I went through, just appreciating the hardships that one goes through and just being grateful for the journey itself. Because without that journey, you wouldn't, nobody would be where they're at right now. So I think just staying true to that and staying true to that core, it really got me through it because, um, you know, I could think about it and be like, oh man, like what am I getting out of this? I'm getting a lot out of it. I'm emotionally intelligent. I'm very mature,
Yes, you are.
and I have big aspirations.
Yep.
And I'm so grateful of how I grew up and what I went through because if not, I would not be who I am now.
You probably wouldn't have pushed this
Absolutely.
far,
Yep.
right? So no, and that's exactly what I feel also. Yes, sometimes those hard times make you as strong as you are now, and you
Absolutely.
can put up with so much shit. You and sometimes you need that, because that's gonna make you force you to say no, absolutely not. I do not want this, and push you higher.
Right. I think something else that also really gets me through it is that I deserve a better future. Like
Yeah.
my past doesn't
Yes.
define me
Yes.
and I deserve better. So that's what gets me through it
Yep.
all the time.
I love
That
that.
this is not the end for me.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And that's, deep inside that there is more.
There's more.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep.
And you're starting that new journey, that new
Yep.
path also very soon.
Yep.
We won't share that with the world
Yeah.
yet, but perhaps we'll have you back maybe next year,
Yeah.
wink, wink, after
Yeah.
you go through some things, and share what you've learned through that
Yeah.
journey.
Yeah.
So, and with everything you have said already, the tips and the words and the messages to those parents out there, it's something amazing. That's like the bridge from a lost child or somebody who's feeling how you were describing to the parent. So just know that what you shared today is like a blessing, or it's like a savior moment for a child out there, because maybe it's like an aha moment for one of the parents who didn't realize they were being so overbearing, or not letting them spread their wings a little bit, right? Like,
right.
you have to learn from your mistakes. So what you shared today is just something much needed for those parents out there. And so also, what would you say to those in their midlife, that are my age, that perhaps feel like they can't start over? You're someone 21 years old.
Right.
You on your own. Not that anybody's told you this information. This is you from old soul and just wanting to speak your truth. What is your suggestion to someone who is too afraid to start over, or to start a new career?
Yeah, first of all, it's never too late to start
Mhm.
over. I've started over so
Yeah.
I'm only 21 and I'm saying this, yeah, but I'm saying this because I've started over so many times and it's never too late. It's never too late to follow your dreams. It's never too late to push for whatever it looks like you want to do. It's never too late. Don't don't think about the age. Don't think about how much time you have left. Just go for it, you know. There's not a time clock or anything. Just go for it. Yeah.
100%. Yes, yes, yes. I always say, we are our energy, we are not our age. Because the
Absolutely.
moment everybody starts saying, oh my gosh, I'm 50 years old, and then we only have this much time left.
Right.
Okay, life is short. Life is short here on
Absolutely.
earthly life, but we have many more realms. This is what I believe, anyways, to go. So when we pass, my parents have passed. I
Right.
know you lost your grandmother, someone close to you, and others as well.
Right.
We don't know why they go at the times that they go, but they've transitioned on. But this is just a wake-up call. We were just speaking about this, that life is so precious, right?
Yeah.
Life is so sensitive.
Right.
Chase your desires, have your bucket list, and make that your dream. Your dream should become your goals, and then take steps towards that goal.
Right.
But life is so precious, and we don't know exactly when is our time. So, if the journey of getting to that goal should be what you enjoy, like, you need to find a way to enjoy each moment, like each day. Us sitting here spending this time together right
Right.
now,
Just
tomorrow,
being in the moment.
just be in the moment.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Because this is the whole part of life,
It
is
is.
just to
It is.
experience every single little thing, but you went through tough times, 100%. But look at you here now, sharing this for a reason, for a purpose, that somebody's gonna hear this,
Right.
like,
Right. Absolutely.
you probably never imagined you'd be on a podcast right now
No.
sharing
No.
your story.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's such a bucket list moment, you know.
That's
Yes, I love it.
so that you get to mark it off.
Yeah. Yep.
Somebody told me, I just interviewed her the other day. She's amazing. She was a joy facilitator, and she also guided those families who had lost somebody through death. But she has like a vision board. Shout out to my girl Connie, and she has like a vision wall. She would just say these are what's calling to her. She puts all the items that
Love
she
that.
wanted to do.
Love that.
Podcast was one of them. Someone that she didn't know, which was me. And so you put it in a scrapbook.
No, I love that.
Is that not the cutest thing?
Yeah, I love that.
So all your aspirations, all your dreams that are going to become goals, put them all maybe in some kind of book or a vision board. And each time you accomplish something, it's like
Yeah.
the small wins, not even small wins. It could be big wins. And then that way you have like a journal of it. And
Right.
it makes life more fun, and
More
something
appreciative. Yeah.
more appreciative. And actually, that's probably a good way to enjoy life a little bit more,
Right. No, absolutely. I think if you mark your wins, big or small, whatever it is, or whatever you want to do, it motivates you and
Mhm,
you see the other side of life. You're not so tunnel vision and seeing just black and white, you know? I
mhm.
think that's great. I love it. Yeah.
That's a cool idea. Yes.
No, but thank you, Mitchie, for real, for having me here. This is such I'll forever remember this. This is such a rewarding moment, but
Yeah.
also I do want to say you were also a big part of, you were always there for when I was growing up and your kids, love them, will forever be close. Love them. They're
Oh,
they're beautiful.
well, I and we love you.
Yeah.
and no, have watched you grown
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah.
And you can always count on us at
Yeah.
any time. And this is literally an inspiring moment because I've always known you were different, but I don't think enough people know how
How different.
wise
Yeah.
and spiritual you
No,
are.
absolutely. Yeah.
So definitely, I think I'm gonna have you on again after you go through your next stage of life,
Absolutely. Yeah. Looking
and you
forward
can
to it.
share more on that.
Yeah.
But I love you so much,
Love
and this
you.
is wonderful.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
for everyone out there and the parents, I just hope that you just take what this beautiful girl has said, listen to your kids out there. And I know it's tough if your kids are going spiraling or out of control. Um, Definitely, if it's something that you think that you can't handle, or let's say that you actually acknowledge that, oh, perhaps it was something that I should have acted a certain way, in raising them. It's not too late to change. It's a matter of just taking the steps little by little. You yourself, as the parent, seek external help, whether you would want a coach or a mentor, or I'm always huge on energy healing that will help you feel a little bit more relaxed. But seek that help, and also for the child as well. Therapy is wonderful. Like Mariana was saying, if maybe the child doesn't have anybody to talk to, and if you feel that you can't be that one, it's okay. Let's get a therapist or somebody.
I think, sorry if I could add
No.
something. I think where parents go wrong a lot is we need to change that vision because I think a lot of times it's where they think the child is talking back, but they're not. And I think tone in the conversation is so important because it could be mistaken in the wrong way, you know? So if just really listen to them and don't take it personal.
Mhm.
Don't think they're trying to talk back. I think they're really just they want you to understand. Now, if it gets to a point where they keep having to repeat themselves, they feel like they're being rude or they have an attitude, that's where you're gonna lose them. You know what I'm saying? So really just changing your perspective on the conversation and letting them listen.
The child is frustrated and
Right,
trying to be heard,
right.
comes off with an attitude, but maybe it's
It's
not
really
meant,
them it's really them trying to talk to
trying
you.
to express.
Yeah. And they're frustrated because they really want you to listen and they're trying to look for that person in them, but
Mhm.
it's like how can they, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's hard. And coming from the parent side, me myself, being a single parent, raising them all their life, and having a demanding full-time corporate job,
Right.
you come home burnt out, you come home
Absolutely.
exhausted.
Yep. Yep.
So it's more the parent, if you're going through that, if you're working, my single parents out there working super, super, super hard, you come home, you're tired, you're exhausted, oh, the chores aren't done. It takes a toll on you. But
Absolutely.
just think about what a precious gift your child is and just find the little moment to just sit with the child and let them just be heard. Because that's something, looking back, we all wish we could have done things differently. Perhaps I could have spoke more to my kids or listened better, but we're all here. It's a learning journey.
We're not perfect,
No,
you know.
exactly.
And
And so,
shout out to all the single parents. I know that
yeah,
shit's not easy.
not yeah,
Yep. Yep.
exactly,
Yep.
exactly. Very hard, very hard. So, any last words, my dear, you want to say out there? You said quite a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
It means a lot, but is there anything that is just calling at you that you just want to say out there to the world?
Yeah, I would definitely say, healing is not linear and it's not gonna happen overnight. So allow yourself to heal, forgive yourself. And parents, as hard as it can be, I understand like they're trying their best as well. They're trying to navigate um through their own personal lives because I know there's so much to juggle there as well. I don't know how it is to be a parent, but I can only imagine how hard it is and how much they want for their kids, Especially being a single parent, yeah, there's just a lot into it. But yeah, just know that healing, it's beautiful, it's raw, it's concrete, and yeah, just it's never linear. Just go with the flow
Go with the
and
flow,
breathe, breathe.
breathe,
So
breath.
super
Yep,
important.
yep, super
Pause.
important. Yep,
Yeah.
pause and
In the chaos.
listen.
Yeah,
Yeah, find that quiet time, right?
absolutely. And it's very essential. That quiet time is very essential.
And that's where you find either the higher powers, messages that are needed in those tough times.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I just want to continue to just praise you and acknowledge you and just you realize it, but I want you to know that I realize it.
Yeah,
I think
thank you.
that your power, your gift is your voice. So
Yeah.
don't lose that. You are an inspiration to parents out there, to young adults out there,
Yeah.
teens out there. Just thank you so much.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm definitely gonna carry this, you know. Tomorrow's my last day. Well, tonight, but like whatever.
Visiting Miami.
Yeah, I was here for a
Where are you
week.
coming from?
Maryland.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
But this is definitely something I'll carry back home and into my new journey, which I'm so excited. And I can't wait to get back on to this podcast a few years, yeah, from now and see how much I've grown.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, exactly. We'll do it side by side
Yeah.
and see. But I know that there's so much more for you to
Yeah,
experience.
absolutely.
And like I said, I think you have something special. Having the courage to share and to speak the voice
Absolutely.
that they may not have right
Right.
now.
Yeah.
Have safe travels back. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much,
Thank you.
amor.